A $60,000 medical bill, a surprise. Doctors think it actually could be a law against surprise billing that's causing this to happen.
How is this happening to more than one person?
A hospital calls off all its surgeries because there's something weird on the surgical tools. Denver started charging people for trash pickup, promising free compost. That program is rolling out at a glacial pace. Rarely is a closing good news, but after a ski season like that one,
my good news for the day is that I got to take a day off of work.
Let's wrap up the week tonight on Next. The federal No Surprises Act means you're not supposed to get an enormous medical bill out of the blue. The universal law of unintended consequences means everything, even other laws, have unexpected ripple effects. Our Steve Stager has heard from ER docs who say that's what's happening to Coloradans when those two laws collide.
He was really sick.
In December of 2022, Ethan Calero's parents didn't waste time when he was struggling to breathe. They took him to Children's Hospital South in Highlands Ranch.
His condition was just getting a lot worse.
The next morning, even more so.
When you see all the medical people around you start to get really concerned, that's when you as a parent are like, whoa, this could go south.
Doctors wanted Ethan transported from the South Campus to the Children's main campus in Aurora, 24 miles away. The problem is the ground ambulance was 6 hours out.
He is going on a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, there was no discussion. I said, can I go with them? And they were like, no, absolutely not. And so that was really hard. We had to, get him packaged up with his dog and say goodbye.
It was so overwhelming, Kelly and her husband Chris didn't even begin to think about the cost. Months after Ethan's recovery, the bill showed up. That 18-mile flight, $60,000, and their insurance company, Anthem, said it wouldn't pay.
You're just like floored. You're like, seriously?
They appealed, thinking this must be a mistake. Ethan was sick and time mattered. Not that it mattered to Anthem.
That it wasn't too dangerous for him to wait for a ground transportation.
It just put our entire life on hold. Like right now we're renting and we would like to buy a house, but we have to wait to find out what our financial situation is going to be.
Denials like this aren't uncommon. Earlier this year, a group of emergency docs wrote the federal government saying they've seen an increase of denials since a law banning surprise bills kicked in.
Our understanding is that when plans deny a claim due to it being medically unnecessary, they're basically able to sidestep the law.
Molly Castlework is a reporter for KFF Health News. She says a medical necessity denial means an insurance company can refuse to pay a dime. It's why doctors are trying to get the government's attention.
They're petitioning that the federal government update No Surprises Act to require that insurance companies presume medical necessity if the ambulance is ordered by a physician or doctor at the referring hospital.
In the meantime, a day after Steve on Your Side contacted Anthem, Anthem contacted Ethan's parents, told them they'd handle the claim.
The idea of having that bill, $60,000, go away, it's just like, it's finally over.
It feels like we can have some peace. Our kids are going to be healthy and we're going to just move on.
So in a statement to us, Anthem says the reason why it took nearly a year and a half to process this claim is because the air ambulance provider, Reach Air, didn't give them the appropriate medical information about Ethan at the time. They say once they got the right info from the hospital, that cleared it all up. Just a month ago, Anthem paid out another claim for a family in nearly the same situation after we started asking questions about it. It's just kind of strange that it takes a call from a reporter for folks who have been doing this for a year. And it all gets sorted out like that.
The amount of time and energy they must have put into it. I mean, obviously they knew that they were getting a service, an expensive service, but then to get that kind of astronomical bill, right?
Incredibly expensive service. And we're looking into why this costs so much, right? $60,000 for an 18-mile ambulance ride seems like a lot. Private equity has gobbled up a lot of that industry. That's part of the reason why, but it's also part of the No Surprises Act, because the No Surprises Act allows this process between insurance companies and providers to fight each other and duke it out. There's a federal appeal process, and KFF News has actually reported that the air ambulance providers tend to win that a lot more often than the insurance companies do, so that's also driving the price up.
Why they creep it on up. Well, if you have an issue with your Excel bill, just be like, I know that Marshall Zellinger guy. If you have an issue with an insane medical bill, I know Steve Stager. That's how we fix things around here. Steve, thank you.
Yep.
Things you do not want to hear as you drift off before surgery. This is my first time doing this. Or Which leg is it again? Also, why are all the surgical instruments dirty? It's that last line that has stopped surgeries at the VA hospital in Aurora. The VA says it has canceled all upcoming surgeries because of some unidentified residue found on its surgical equipment. A spokesperson says they believe they found the stuff before the instruments were used in surgery. More than 180 surgeries have now been moved to other hospitals while the VA figures out what in the world is on its surgical equipment. Castle Rock is preparing to welcome in the Dougco Sheriff's Office to enforce an anti-migrant ordinance inside their town limits. Douglas County recently banned buses from dropping off migrants or people living on the streets in another city. Now, again, there's no evidence that this happened. This is a preemptive move by Dougco. Bus drivers who make what Douglas County calls unscheduled drop-offs in unincorporated areas can be fined. Their bus could be impounded. Castle Rock Town Council is writing up an agreement to let deputies enforce that ordinance within town as well. We should mention, no evidence that this has happened once in Douglas County. To the contrary, the buses arriving in Denver have often been sent by Texas's Republican Governor Greg Abbott, who says he is only busing migrants into cities that are welcoming to them. Larimer County commissioners have unanimously approved the final piece of a contentious pipeline project, taking water from the Poudre River down to Thornton. The city of Thornton has been fighting to get the green light on this $500 million project for a decade. Most of the 70-mile pipeline has already been approved or completed. Larimer County controls that missing piece. For years, they have refused Thornton's request to construct the initial 27 miles of pipeline connecting the rest of the line to the Poudre in Fort Collins. Thornton argues that this pipeline is crucial to fulfilling their water rights and getting water for a rapidly growing city. Opponents up in Larimer County say that Thornton could just connect into the river farther south in Weld County. Thornton doesn't like that idea because they say the water would not be as clean at that point. Larimer County commissioners this week okayed a proposal for about 10 miles of pipeline up into Larimer County instead of the original 27. When Denver started charging an additional fee for trash pickup, composting was supposed to be free for everybody in the city. That was the deal. That was the trade-off. Yet only 11,000 households have received their new compost bins. Don't worry, though. If you're still waiting, our Marshall Zellinger found out you should have it by the end of next year.
In the Barnum neighborhood west of I-25, composting is limited. It's certainly not supposed to mean come to the post and find free yard scraps.
This is the next collection area that we're going to be expanding to.
Nina is in charge of Denver's waste diversion and recycling. When we met her last year, it was near City Park, one of the first areas to get compost bins at no charge under the city's new program where you pay extra for your trash bin and get recycling and composting for free.
We have 9 collection areas, and our current plan is to do 1 per quarter.
The first area to get free composting bins is number 2 on this map. City Park, north to Globeville, and Elyria, Swansea. Number 4 in the top right corner just got them. That's Montbello and Green Valley Ranch.
That area was our lowest, had our lowest number of existing compost customers, and we saw like a 400% increase in participation.
That's why this area in West Denver is next. It has the next fewest existing composting customers from when residents had to pay extra for composting bins. Later this month, residents in the following areas will be getting a notice in the mail that they can request their free one.
Athmar Park, Barnum, Baker, Westwood, Villa Park. It's generally Broadway to Sheridan and Colfax to Mississippi.
The slow rollout is to make sure composting bins are used correctly, meaning only food waste and yard debris and nothing else. Otherwise, the loads picked up will be rejected, or they won't be picked up at all, except by the resident compost thief.
We're going to keep evaluating, and if we can move faster, we certainly will, but right now we're feeling really good about educating as we go.
This is for Pippa, my daughter, real quick. I don't know which neighborhoods will be last, but it's either going to be Northwest Denver, Central Denver, East Denver, or Southeast Denver because they had the most compost participation when residents had to pay for it.
And secret, Marshall, the secret was to sneak into the program right at the end of the paid portion because that's how people secured a bin before everybody else. That was like the little trick out there that I heard people talking about. But so what happens for the people who are paying for it now but not getting the service?
They're getting a credit. Everybody will get the emails. You're getting a credit until you choose your compost bin when you're given that option. So even though you're paying, you'll get the credit. and I found out there's already a pay study going on that has to be presented to city council. So it's possible the price goes up, even though you're getting a credit. The price could go up before you even get your compost bin.
Is that a thing that your daughter does, that Pippa does? She does a little.
I try to do this
thing?
so that she knows what a squirrel is.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. All right, Marshall, thank you. I love a creative solution to a pressing problem. Let me lay one out. So here's the problem. Some kids in Colorado are not entering the school system with basic early literacy skills. They're already behind. And the reason is that not every family is reading aloud to young kids, getting used to words and books. Here's the creative solution. Get pediatricians to talk with parents about the importance of reading during doctor's visits, and then prescribing families books, saying, this is what you need. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign has already raised more than $10,000 for the nonprofit Reach Out and Read. They work with more than 300 medical offices across Colorado, specifically training healthcare providers on how to talk about something that's outside their usual fare, the importance of reading. Then they send families home with free, developmentally appropriate books in English or a bilingual book in the family's language of choice. And they do this at each visit with books appropriate for that age. And parents get comfortable reading aloud to their kids. And then, boom, kids go to school ready to read with their peers. This program is so successful, there are medical offices in Colorado on a wait list who want to work with Reach Out and Read. Last year, that nonprofit distributed hundreds of thousands of books in Colorado, and the money that we raise together will help them expand their work into new communities in need. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. And this week, $5 covers a book and guidance for a family at a well visit. So that's easy to understand. Hey, more than 2,500 of you have signed up to simplify your giving with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. What that means is that we have started our recent weekly campaigns with almost $200,000 in donations for each nonprofit. You can use the same QR code or text to get there.
It's just exciting. I wanted to call everybody I knew and say, guess what?
It is a once-in-a-lifetime encounter up close with a bald eagle. A year after it was saved by ranchers, they get to watch its return to the skies. And we will head up the hill in search of your good news, end the week as we always do on an encouraging note.
Finally Friday. It may be cool, it may be gloomy, but it is Friday and we're staring right into Mother's Day weekend with a chance for showers each afternoon. It all has to do with that area of low pressure over the Four Corners area, and there's snow in the high country, but the winter weather advisory has canceled out. Average highs close to 70. We're in the mid-50s this afternoon, and it will be a cool evening with those easterly light upslope winds. We're seeing some scattered snow showers in the mountains, not enough to impact travel, and there are no advisories for snow. We're also tracking the potential for a brief shower here in Denver between now and midnight. Then we get a little bit of a break, some clearing, and then we get back into a partly sunny day tomorrow with a chance for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. And so mid-50s, kind of what we're expecting throughout the evening, maybe a shower. Your 7-day forecast includes mid-60s for the weekend with a chance for afternoon showers both Saturday and Mother's Day Sunday. Then into the week we go with sunshine and 70s for Monday and Tuesday. And the next storm arrives the middle of next week.
When ranchers in Jefferson County found an injured bald eagle on their property, they called in the experts, they handed over the bird. Little did they know, they'd see it again. Our Brian Wendland has that story.
This eagle's story started and begins again right here on Eagle Rock Ranch.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Where Dave Gottenborg says a ranch hand found it, unable to fly.
But it's a magnificent bird, just spectacular, even when it was on the ground. And after it didn't move very much for a day or so, we called Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and they sent somebody out that same day.
Fortunately for us, we have somebody like Dave who takes the time to call on an injured animal, and particularly an eagle, a bald eagle.
Mark Lamb, an area wildlife manager with CPW, says they came out, picked up the bird, and took it to Birds of Prey Rehab Center in Broomfield.
If Dave hadn't made that call, that eagle would never have made it. It would have died out there.
Dave had to make that call because he's an animal lover at heart.
We encourage elk through here. We built some fish ladders to encourage your fish migration. But we have all those little elements of the ecosystem around here. But when you see the eagle flying overhead, it kind of pulls everything together.
So when he found out CPW wanted to release the bird back on his property, where they originally found it, Dave didn't hesitate to say yes.
I couldn't sleep that night. It's just exciting. I wanted to call everybody I knew and say, guess what?
The eagle was released with a potential mate. If all goes well, the area around Eagle Rock Ranch will be home to bald eagles for generations.
They fish the river. We leave the grass long for them, so it facilitates voles and mice, and we got gophers. We got the whole diet here, pretty much, the whole menu. We aim to please.
For Next, I'm Brian Wetland.
Bald eagles are not the only at-risk birds on that ranch. They've got prairie falcons, veeries as well. The ranch owners are trying to build up their bird habitat by planting willows along their riverbank.
My good news is that I got to play hooky from work on a Friday, unexpected, with one of my favorite humans in the whole world.
Sometimes an ending can be good news, like the end of a ski season, or maybe the end of her job if her boss is watching. Snowed in the mountains last night, so Loveland ski area got to go out for the year with fresh powder. That is good news indeed.
We like the mix of weather. People are still complaining about the snowfall, but I'm happy for it even this time of year. My good news is the snowfall.
My good news for the day is that I got to take a day off of work and go fish and snowboard on the same day. Love Colorado.
My good news is my wife Leslie and I are expecting our first kid in August.
Kids got to come out with me today.
Yeah.
What's your good news, Logan? That's my good news. I can do with kids.
My good news is I got to skip school, so. And I have no good news.
My good news is that I work in an animal shelter, and one of our longest residents, Chubbs the dog, is going on a tryout and hopefully going to be adopted today.
My good news is that I got to play hooky from work on a Friday, unexpected, with one of my favorite humans in the whole world. And I'm not missing anything. I'm not being a bad mom. I'm not being a bad employee. I'm just having a great day.
My good news, I got a free ticket, 4-pack for Loveland to snowboard today. Extremely grateful.
I'm out skiing with some friends for the first time.
Good luck to Chubbs the dog. Says here, this is one of the worst things that one of you has ever watched. You're witnessing history. We're back with your feedback next. Feedback time. Jim and Ken both caught that I misspoke when I was talking about your Word of Thanks monthly donations, the folks who sign up for the recurring donations. Those donations are adding about $20,000 a week to each of your micro-giving campaigns. The reason why I'm not more specific than that, I can just tell you how it works. At the end of every month, we add up all of the monthly donations. The folks at the Colorado Gives Foundation do that, and then they divide it evenly amongst all of the nonprofits featured that month. So each month it has changed, going in the right direction. Steve says, this wasn't the stupidest, dumbest show I've seen in my lifetime, but it was in the top 2. Not to be greedy, Steve, but I really hope we're in that first position, and if we're not, we're going to keep trying. We'll see you next time.